Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Irmen.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. If you are a first-timer, thank you as well. And welcome aboard. All right, so before we begin, I just want to do a quick shout out for all of my existing clients that we are doing the client-only Black Sheep Summit. That's the name of it. A client-only Black Sheep Summit for you guys in San Antonio, January 18th and 19th. And then we're going to go to the King Ranch and do a tour of the King Ranch while we are down there. So if you have not signed up yet, go to your email. You got an email. Make sure that you get signed up. It is going to be an absolutely amazing event. If you are a client, if you're a client and you want to bring your friend or you want to bring your mom and dad, and they're not clients, they can't come. So it is going to be amazing stuff for just clients. So if you're somebody listening and you are in underwriting with us, you have meetings set up with us, reach out, let us know if you're wanting to come because we have pretty strict guidelines if you're allowed or not. I know, kind of crazy. Anyway, it's going to be a time just for everybody that thinks the same to be able to attend that. All right, let's get on to our podcast. So today I want to talk about 401k, little secrets, little things that they don't tell you that I thought everybody knew. But in the last probably month, I have had 4 people say to me, I didn't know that. I didn't know people could do that with our money. That's a scam. And so I want to go over those things. Because what is the first thing that is happening is that it is no longer an opt-in system for 401ks. It is an opt-out. So what that means is that when I was working for people way back when, I had to opt into their 401k. I got to talk to the 401k manager. People helped me decide what to invest in. And this has been going on. I don't know that everybody does this, but it is definitely far more prevalent. And I had a client, oh my gosh, I bet probably 7 years ago. And he was a young guy that got his first job at an ethanol plant. And nobody in his family had ever had a job before. They were all just farmers. And so they asked me to help him with stuff. And I was more than happy to do that. But we found out that his 401k was opt out. They automatically put 4% of his income into the 401k. And he didn't ask for that. He didn't want that. And I just heard this from a friend again over the weekend that she was furious because her son went to work for a semi-decent sized corporation and it was an opt-out as well. Nobody went over with him that he was going to be putting money into a 401k. Most people, if you have a job that you just signed all the paperwork and you don't think you're putting money into a 401k, are you looking at your pay stubs? Because a lot of people don't even look at their pay stubs to see what their employer matches. They don't look to see where their money is going. I highly encourage you, pay attention. If you are young listening to this and you are working for bigger corporations, not just your mom and pop type corporations, but a bigger corporation like a Cabela's, a Menards, a ethanol plant, a mine, something like that they're not big, huge, but they're medium-sized companies, make sure that you are not putting money into a 401k if you don't want to do that. Now, if you want to do that, fantastic. But guess what happens when you opt out? Then they get to talk to you like you're an idiot and that you shouldn't opt out. We'll decide who the idiot is in that conversation. So, something to be aware of. The other thing that a lot of people do not know, which I am surprised of, most people apparently, or a lot of people, think that they can take their money out of their 401k while they're still employed with their employer. Now, you can use that money and you can take it out if you can declare a hardship. And there are, certain requirements for that. Or if you need to buy your first house, you can take it out, stuff like that. But for the most part, if you're all good and you just don't want the money in there anymore, but you are a lifer at a company, you don't get it. Like, you come across my book and you're like, oh, I'm going to take money out of my 401k and I'm going to put it into life insurance. You can't do that until you stop working at that place. Now, I bet I probably run into one person a month that feels like they did not know that. They were not told that. Again, HR, who is in charge of all of this sort of stuff normally, is not telling you these rules, and you are not asking. They are going to go with the assumption that you know that. They're going to go with the assumption that you know you are putting money into a 401k and that you read all of the paperwork. Very few people are going to read all of the paperwork. And so the typical rule is, as long as you are employed with an employer, you do not have access to draw money out of your 401k. You can stop contributing, but you do not have access to it until you end employment. There are exceptions to that rule. Somebody just told me the other day that in their company, they can take that money out and they can do things with it. Okay? Another thing, a lot of people do not know that whatever their money is invested in, you can change that investment. These people managing it for you are just doing whatever they think based on your risk tolerance. Now, I don't know how they determine your risk tolerance when it's an opt-out system and they automatically start putting money there. I have no idea how that works. But if you are not wanting your money in the market, you should be able to call the company or log in online and you should be able to change the allocation of where all of your dollars are. So if you want to invest in bonds right now, which is what the people I listen to are saying, so if you want to invest in bonds right now, then you should be able to log in. You should be able to change the allocation of your 401k. You should be able to call the person that's managing it and tell them that you want it changed. And so you might want to pay attention to the market if you have money there. If you don't want the risk of the market, then you might want to put it in bonds because there's not a big, huge risk there. Something to think about is you also have control of where those dollars are allocated. Most people are passive investors. They put their 3 or 4% in the 401k and then they never look at it again and they have no idea where all of this money is going. Something to think about. Ask questions. I just met with a guy today who owns a trucking company, a very successful trucking company. He has done an amazing job. And he got backlash from his investment guy and his accountant because he took the money out of an IRA and used it to start his trucking company. Really? Y'all know that's what I did. I took money out of my IRA to start my business. Not every business is successful. I get it. But I would rather bet on myself than bet on the market and some passive broker that might be doing his job and might not be doing his job. There are people in the market making money, but those people are not passive. Okay? They understand what's going on. And so if you are sitting in the market and you're just contributing money and you don't even know how much, it's a lot of times when I ask people how much money they're contributing, they don't know. They're like, well, it's 3%. I say, what is your match? They have no idea what their match is. And so sometimes it doesn't even pay to contribute if you don't have a decent match. So again, these are like the big 3 things that people do not understand about their 401ks and their IRAs and all the, well, IRAs, a lot of this doesn't apply, but your 401k. If you go there, if you are going to have an opt-in system, pay attention. And remember, if you're not going to be a lifer, do you want to put the money there and start a business later and you're going to lose 10% of everything? Because that's how I look at it. If I'm going to put money into a 401k and I'm not going to be a lifer at that company, but I'm going to quit in 5 to 10 years, then I'm going to use that money to start my own business. Well, I'm going to lose 10% of everything in there. Make sure you're penciling out the numbers. Does it make sense to take the match at that point? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Depends on what the match is. Or should you have the money now? All right. Let me know, you guys, if you have questions, comments, concerns. I'm sure that this has ticked a lot of people off that think that the 401k is just the most amazing thing in the world. Pay attention, young people, to what is happening. But Gen Xers can't take that money out without having the ending employment in most cases. Okay, if you haven't gotten the book, go to farmingwithoutthebank.com or withoutthebank.com, grab your book, set up your appointment. I apologize that I am already booking till end of December, January. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. Get on the wait list and make sure that you're on the wait list, because if people have cancellations, and sometimes I have no-shows, or people will cancel the day before or a couple of hours before, if you can be ready, we can get you in way sooner, because people no-show, people cancel. It's rare this time of year, but it happens. Okay. If you can't schedule with me, I always have John. There's a link. You can schedule with Mary Jo or you can schedule with John. So if you need to schedule with John, whom I've trained and he knows what he's doing, you can do that. Let me know if you need anything. Otherwise, have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.